Your brain is sneakier than you think. Every day it's playing little mind games, subtly nudging your decisions without even asking for permission. Ever found yourself slogging through a series that started great but is now sort of a chore? Yet, you keep watching it. Why? Because you already invested so much time in it. In this video, I'm unpacking 5 of the sneakiest cognitive biases that quietly shape our behavior, influence our choices, and cost us time, money, and in fact, even peace of mind. I'll show you how they work, how they manipulate you, and most importantly, how to fight back. And what's more, there's a bonus towards the end, so make sure you stick around till the end of the video. Let's jump right in. Number 1 is sunk cost fallacy. Wait a second. Before we dive into number 1, what even are cognitive biases? So basically, the human brain is wired to take shortcuts. It's constantly filtering and simplifying information so you don't have to overthink. Sounds helpful, right? Well, not always. These shortcuts can lead us to make irrational decisions without us even realizing it. And why does it happen? It's a mix of different things. Our brains have limits, we rely on emotions more than we think, our memories aren't as reliable as we would like, and whether we admit it or not, we get influenced by the people around us a lot. And that's why in today's world, when we are drowning in information, social media, and endless decisions, it's more important than ever to understand them. With that, let's jump into sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is our brain's sneaky way of making us stick with bad decisions just because we have invested time, effort, emotional energy, or money. Whether it's a failing project or a half-eaten, overpriced restaurant meal, we often stick with bad decisions just because we've already paid the price. Just because you have invested heavily in something doesn't mean you should keep going. Sometimes the smartest move is to walk away. How can you outsmart it? Make good habits stick. Prepay for that gym membership, an online course, or even that productivity app. Once you've spent the money, your brain will hate wasting it, and you'll be more likely to follow through. Instead of letting sunk costs trap you, flip it. Use it to your advantage. Use it to stay disciplined, make smarter choices, and maybe even close a few deals. Number 2 is the IKEA Effect. Yes, you heard it right. The IKEA Effect. IKEA Effect is our tendency to overvalue the things we put effort into, even if the final product isn't amazing. Because our brain says, I made it, so it must be great. And it's not just about furniture. This bias influences our work, relationships, and even business decisions. Companies love the IKEA effect because they know that if they make you put effort in something, you are likely to value it a lot more. IKEA doesn't just sell furniture, it sells pride. When you build it yourself, you become emotionally attached. So you're less likely to return it, even if it's a little wonky. We all love feeling capable. So much so that when our confidence takes a hit, we subconsciously seek ways to prove ourselves. We are more likely to choose assembling an IKEA furniture over buying it pre-built because building it makes us feel accomplished. So now how can you outsmart it? Here's your cheat code. Step back. Ask yourself, if someone else made it, would I still consider it great? Get a second opinion. Fresh perspective can reveal flaws you are blind to. Detach effort from value. Just because you've spent hours building something doesn't mean that it's great. Judge based on results, not effort. And it's everywhere. Let's say you poured your soul into a presentation. You stayed up late, perfecting every element in the presentation. And when you showed it to your manager, they said, let's cut it down to 5 slides, please. It stings, right? Not because they're wrong, but because you've put so much effort into it. That's the IKEA effect in action. It's great for motivation, not so great for decision making. Number 3 is anchoring bias. Anchoring bias is our tendency to give too much weight to the first piece of information, even if it's completely arbitrary. Once an anchor is set, we subconsciously compare everything to it. This happens way more often than we think, and it messes with how we shop, invest, negotiate, and even vote. As an example, on Airbnb, some hosts often show a high nightly price, then offer discounted rates for multiple nights. The anchor is the fake nightly rate. It makes the bundle feel like a bargain, even when it's fairly standard. So, how will you outsmart it? Set your own anchor before entering a decision. Before salary talks, research the average pay. Before house hunting, know your budget. If you don't set the anchor, someone else will. Or imagine this, you visit an apartment that looks way worse than the listing photos. The landlord shows you another, slightly better apartment, and suddenly it feels like the best deal ever. But is it really? Or are you just comparing it to the bad one? Give yourself time. Anchoring works best when you're rushed. Look at the standalone value of the product. Ask yourself, if I hadn't seen the first one, would this still feel like a great deal? Alright, number 4 is the decoy effect. Imagine you're at the movie and you're deciding which popcorn to take. There's a small, which you think is too little, and the large seems like overkill. And then boom, you spot a medium. That's $6. And right next to it is the large, which is $7. And you think, for just $1 more, I get way more popcorns. That is the decoy effect. The small and large weren't just about size, they were about framing. The medium was a decoy, designed to make the large seem like a much better deal. Let's break down how this works. The decoy effect is a cognitive bias that tricks you into making a decision based on comparison, thanks to a third, seemingly less appealing option thrown into the mix. It's all about making one option seem better just by adding something worse. The decoy effect doesn't just show up in price tags and shopping carts. It shows up in relationships, time commitments, and even life decisions. And how can you outsmart it? Ask yourself, if the third option wasn't here, what would I choose? Don't let better than the worst fool you. I'll give you an example. You're deciding how to spend your weekend. You have 3 options. A, rest at home. B, help a friend move. Not ideal. Or C, babysit your neighbor's hyper dog for 12 hours. Suddenly option B doesn't sound so bad, right? Is it really how you want to spend your time? Make choices based on your actual values, not on how bad the alternatives look. This trick is used so often in marketing, but now that you see it, you cannot unsee it. The next time something feels like a no-brainer deal, take a second. It might be a clever decoy. However, you can actually use it to nudge people into doing what you want. In fact, you can nudge people towards a choice by placing a slightly worse choice next to it. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. But please use it for good. If you want your friend to help you move on a Saturday afternoon, you could give them 3 options. The last one seems reasonable, and that's what you wanted all along. But use it responsibly, not to manipulate people. Number 5 is the availability heuristic. Imagine you're a team lead. One day your new hire, Paul, makes a mistake in a client email. The next week, another slip up. You think, oh no, I made the wrong hire. He will be a liability. Now, every time he hesitates or asks a question, it confirms your fear. Why? Because those early errors are easily available in your memory. You recall them faster than his successes. So your brain overestimates how often he messes up. This is the availability heuristic. Even if he nails 95% of the tasks, your mind focuses on the 5% that stood out, especially if they were recent or emotionally charged. The easier something comes to mind, the more likely or common we believe it is. It's not logic, it's memory in disguise. Brains love shortcuts. So instead of crunching the actual stats, we just ask ourselves, can I think of an example of this happening? If the answer is yes, and especially if it's a vivid one, we assume it must happen a lot. Managers might give harsher reviews, withhold growth opportunities, or micromanage, all because of what feels frequent, not what is frequent. How can you outsmart it? Ask yourself, is this actually common or just easy to remember? Your brain loves dramatic, emotional, or recent events. They're sticky, but just because it feels common doesn't mean it is. Look at the data, not just at your gut. Your brain gives weight to what pops up easily. Counteract that with objective stats. Read different sources, talk to people outside your bubble, track things. Seriously, write them down. You will start noticing what your brain remembers isn't always what's most frequent. It's just what's most dramatic. If you've made it this far, I have a bonus for you. Survivorship bias. Survivorship bias is a cognitive bias that occurs when we focus only on the successful outcomes and ignore the failures, leading us to draw overly optimistic conclusions. Essentially, it's when we look at the winners in a particular field or group and mistakenly assume that the same success can be easily replicated, without considering the many who didn't make it. Imagine you're watching a documentary about self-made billionaires. But here's the catch. The documentary only features those who succeeded. It doesn't talk about the hundreds of failed entrepreneurs who tried and didn't make it. This creates a skewed perception, making success seem easier than it actually is. Watch out for survivorship bias. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed it, do give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2, where I dive into some lesser known but just as mind-blowing cognitive biases. If you're liking the content, do consider subscribing so you never miss out. I will see you super soon in another video. Bye!